Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always, told our voice of radio. So today we need to take a look at a new Pokémon TCG Pocket drop event, the Gible one. It started just this morning, and we need to do what we always do when we get one of these new drop events, and that is, I need to tell you about all of the promos and what you should be excited about. I need to give you a deck that you can use to bring down the event, and then I need to give you another deck or two that we can use to, well, take down the event if we don't want to be using any EXs or special Pokemon. Sound like a plan? Excellent. So let's start off having a look at the promos, and obviously, as is often the case here, we've got one special one, and this is a full art version of Gible. Is it a new Gible? No. Absolutely, it's not a new Gible. This is just an alternate art reprint of the Gible with Tackle that is obviously in Triumphant Light, but obviously the artwork here is just absolutely flat out redonkulous phenomenal. Love the artwork, brilliant card. You don't need it. It's just a reprint of the one from Triumphant Light, but it's very, very cool. We have ourselves a Cherim here, looking quite adorable, but that is again just an alternate art of the one that came around also in Triumphant Light. I actually think both the artworks here are absolutely phenomenal, so this is one of those where, you know, pick whichever artwork you like the most, that's absolutely fine, but it is extremely cool. There is a Raichu coming in here, and it's beautiful. I adore the artwork here. But it is a reprint again of the one from Triumphant Light. The one that if you got Arceus or Arceus EX in play, it takes 30 less from attacks, and then 2 energy does 40 to the active, 20 to one of your opponent's bench. Not the best card around, but not terrible by any stretch of the imagination. It's fine. It's alright. Now the Nose Pass is actually mechanically unique, brand new, never before seen, and it's got 60 HP and Iron Defense. Flip a coin if heads during your opponent's next turn. You prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks. And given that we do have Probopass EX in Triumphant Light, there is an argument that maybe we might need this. This could be pretty good, and the answer is no. We've got a Nose Pass that's got single energy 10 and 80 HP in Triumphant Light. It's got 20 more HP, and it's got a single energy attack. So turn 1 going second, you can attack. After that, you really need to be evolving up into Probopass or getting out of the way anyway. So, no. I mean, look, it's not terrible because Iron Defense can give you a turn off. But the reality is, Iron Defense only works on a coin flip, takes 2 energy, and you've got 20 less HP to have access to it. I don't like this one, though. I much prefer the one from Triumphant Light, so sorry, ladies and gentlemen, not a fan of this. Although it is unique, and as always, you should get 2 copies of this just in case. And then we have a brand new mechanically unique Staraptor. Stage 2, never before seen. It's got ability and everything. It's got 140 HP. It takes 30 less damage from fighting Pokemon. And it's got free energy 90. I think this might be the best Staraptor. We did get one in Triumphant Light, which is free energy 130, and it does 20 to itself, starting with 150 HP. But this one, against fighting Pokemon, this one's got a little bit of beef. This one could be alright. I don't think it's game-breaking or anything like that, but it's kind of interesting. So going on to the event then, you're going to be facing off against mostly Garchomp EX decks. Although, as a side note, they're playing around with the Lucario that came around in Space-Time Smackdown that lets fighting Pokemon do extra damage. That, combined with, say, the Hitmonchan from Genetic Apex, that does good damage for very low energy. Keep an eye on this one. That could actually get very annoying. If you go second and your opponent gets a Riolu down on turn 1, that means they can be hitting for 50 for a single energy before you get evolving. That's going to be very annoying. You have been warned. But when it comes to taking down this event, as far as I'm concerned, there is an obvious answer, and it is Celebi Alolan Executor. I feel very confident that this is the best deck with which to take down this event. I think it's the best grass deck around, but I just think this deck... I've been playing this event this morning, and I've been rocking along with Celebi Alolan Executor and just absolutely destroying the event. It's honestly been a huge amount of fun, because you've got yourself Executor here, which does single energy 40, flip a coin, if heads it does 80. That means if you go first, you can't attach an energy, usually going first is a bit annoying, but turn 2 having gone first, that means that you can be hitting Tropical Swing for a single energy, you got 160 HP, you're hitting 40 or 80, it is awesome. In terms of your execute, I like the one with Seed Bomb, single energy 20, get some decent damage rolling turn 1 going second. But if your opponent, if the computer, if your phone, whoever, if they've got a Riolu down turn 1 and you're going second, try not to leave an execute in the active because it can get KO'd very, very easily. How else do you roll with this deck? Well, it's the usual kind of stuff, but then we want to be healing. So Giant Cape is going to be a big thing here. Gives you extra HP. Giant Cape, as far as I'm concerned, is something you want to be playing. Give yourself extra HP. Jobs are good 'em. You then want to be playing Potion, which heals 20 damage. And then the supporter card, Erica, that heals 50 and only heals from a grass Pokemon. But don't worry, because you're playing grass Pokemon. You will be fine. And essentially, between Giant Cape and your healing, you should be able to have a decent amount of bulk. Executor's got 160 HP to begin with, so that is going to work a lot. And then you go into Celebi. And Celebi basically is your finishing off Pokemon. Because Executor takes 1 energy. So you put your first energy of the game on Executor, and then you just attach to Celebi for the rest of the game. Every other energy attachment goes on to Celebi, and then when your Executor finally goes down, and again, we're playing a bunch of cards here to try and make sure that takes a while, but when your Executor finally does go down, Celebi comes in with a bunch of energy, flip a coin for each energy on it, 50 for each heads, and Celebi comes and cleans up afterwards. And sure, if they both go down, you lose the game, but come on. As a side note, the basic line here is very important. You are only playing 1 Celebi. Wassy says you are not allowed to play a second Celebi. You play 2 Execute, 1 Celebi. You have a 2/3 chance of starting with Execute. You want to start with Execute. Otherwise, it just kind of gets a little bit annoying. Now, a couple of weird choices in my deck list here. I do play Pokemon Communication despite only playing 5 Pokemon, and that is because I really want my Executor on turn 2, and I really want my Celebi down for my second energy attachment. Whether that's turn 2 or 3, depending on whether you went first or second. So for that reason, even though I'm playing very few Pokemon, I'm still playing 2 copies of Pokemon Communication, because having the right Pokemon at the right time makes a big difference. I'm also not playing Leaf, and I'm not playing X-Speed. Now, this does have a bit of a knock-on effect, and that is, my Executor probably is going down here. It's probably getting KO'd, because it's got a retreat cost of 3, and that's super annoying. If you want to go put some retreating things in, then absolutely there is a strong argument. I'm essentially going, you know what? Most games I probably won't need Celebi, and if I do, I'm willing to give up my Executor. Obviously, there are a couple of missions where you need to win without giving up a point. That is a little bit annoying, admittedly, but you'll hit that without too much effort. I'm not too worried about that. You won't hit it on the turns, of course, where you have to, give up your Executor. But there'll be enough games where you do it naturally anyway. As far as I'm concerned, here is the deck list. This is my choice. 2 Sabrina and 1 Cyrus are your other cards you see in there. And the reason very simply is Sabrina makes your opponent switch. Cyrus makes them switch, but you get the choice, but only for damaged Pokemon. And you're going to be hitting so many cheeky KOs early game here. There'll be a lot of situations where Sabrina forces up something relevant, and then Cyrus there because you've got space because you're only playing 1 Celebi. I did show you this deck the other day when I was talking about winning with and against Arceus on the first day it was legal. This is my Arceus Carnivine Executor deck. I like this one. I don't think you need it, but this has Carnivine, which does 50 for a single energy, 70 with weakness, if you've got an Arceus in play. So this is basically just trying to go aggressive with Carnivine in the early game, with Executor there as a bit of a backup plan. The only thing you need to know about this deck is you have to play Celestic Town Elder. It gets basic Pokemon back from your discard for if you want to attack with Arceus. Although, honestly, Arceus is weak to fighting, so there's a strong argument you never actually want to attack with Arceus. I don't love this deck for this particular event, but Carnivine is a bit of a beast. What if you don't want to use EXs though? What about those challenges where you have to win with only diamond Pokemon? Well, it all starts with Cyber here. This is my absolute boy in this challenge. I love it. Single energy 30 on a 70 HP Pokemon. That'll do very nicely indeed. Here you have to play Giovanni because you hit 30 with weakness is 50. And then there's a bunch of 60 HP Pokemon like the aforementioned Gible, where you need an extra 10 damage to get over the hump here. So you have to play Giovanni if you're playing the Cypher build, because there'll be too many KOs where you need 60. Also, Sabrina becomes awesome here to force up a 60 HP Pokemon, because there's only 60 HP Pokemon on the bench. You need something else to go into here. I am a fan of Vespiquen personally. I think Vespiquen is the option. To be clear, it is Vespiquen from Space-Time Smackdown to Energy 70. I don't like the new Vespiquen that came around in Triumphant Light. Free energy is too much. Sorry about that. For what it's worth, I actually like the Combi from Triumphant Light. Single energy 20 isn't brilliant, but it's just decent damage to get down early game. Whereas the one from Space-Time Smackdown, it will go and get you a basic Pokemon, but I'd rather have the damage, frankly. And they've got the same HP, so yeah, I want the one with Bug Bite personally. And this is just 2 energy 70, it's fine. It'll 2-hit KO Garchomp EX, which is the main thing we're going for here. The annoying thing is, against like a Hitmonchan, you're doing 70, but you're not hitting for weakness, so you need Giovanni to KO Hitmonchan. Otherwise, you're 2-hitting them and they're 2-hitting you, and that's actually super annoying, but I still think it's the best option. If you want an alternative, the Leafeon that came around in Space-Time Smackdown will have your back, because what we've got here is 2 energy 90. So here you are confidently KOing stuff like Hitmonchan. The problem with this one is that you can't attack 2 turns in a row, so then you have to retreat either into a second Leafeon or into, say, a Cyber, but then you run into the issue of you're not 2-hit KOing Garchomp if you use Leafeon for 110 and then use Cypher for 50. You'll be 10 damage short. And yes, obviously, you can use a Giovanni on either of those 2 turns to get the KO, but it's just a bit awkward. Using Leafeon does give you access to the really fun Eevee, whereby you flip a coin until you get tails, do 20 for each heads. Great emergency attack. But honestly here, it's one from Mythical Island. I don't love it. I'm using it here, I'm showing you because it is a viable alternative, but just to be clear, I much prefer the Vespiquen. Here is my Vespiquen list. It's pretty standard, honestly, from everything that I've said. I am using X Speed here, though, because I really want Cypher turn 1 going second. So for that reason, I am going X Speed here, because I want that Cypher. Very important. And there is an argument I should be playing Pokemon Communication here. There's nothing I want to cut in the deck, honestly. I like everything in here. I have gone double Cyrus, because I'm doing lots of damage early game with Cyber, so there's more opportunities here than there are in some of the other builds. But you could easily put Pokemon Communication in here and cut things like Sabrina or Cyrus or something like that. There's even an argument that Erica's not as important here because of the low HP, but having said that, like Vespiquen gets hit for 50, and then you heal it up and you've still got 100, so I'm definitely keeping it. My Leafeon build, you might notice, is identical. I've just switched out the Vespiquen for Leafeon because I don't see any reason to change anything else. So there we go. There's the promos, there's the decks. I really do believe that Executor and Celebi just smashes this event, but I think single prize Cypher Vespiquen has got your back as well. Oh, and I didn't mention this on the last event, but a few people put it in the comments, so just to be clear, there is a challenge to put a Pokemon to sleep. Put in any Pokemon that causes sleep. Do one game with it to put something asleep. Boom. Done. There we go. And now I want to hear from you guys. Tell me what you think about this event. Tell me if you have found a better deck than this. Tell me anything you want to tell me in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk about Pokemon and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all kinds of fun things. And get shout-outs on the channel like the lovely Unknown One, who's been a supporter of ours for a while now and is a very lovely person. So shout out to them for the support and the loveliness. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.